Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about one of the most important and influential animation studios of all time. I'm of course talking about UPA. Let's get started. In 1941, the Disney animators went on strike. Why did they go on strike? Because the animators that went on strike were in a union, and they realized that the non-union workers were getting better pay and privileges than the workers that were in a union. So they decided to go on strike. 506 employees left because of the strike, and some of them decided to start their own company, and they named that company the Industrial Film and Postage Service. The very first film was Hellbent for Election, which was to encourage people to vote for Franklin D. Roosevelt in the 1944 presidential election. In the late 1940s, they decided to change the name from the Industrial Film and Postage Service to United Productions of America, or UPA for short. In 1948, Columbia Pictures offered to distribute UPA's cartoons, but under one circumstance. In their first two cartoons, they had to feature these characters, Fox and Crow, Columbia Pictures' most bland and generic cartoon characters. So they agreed. So the first two UPA cartoons released under Columbia Pictures was 1948 Robin Hoodlum and 1949's The Magic Flute. In 1949, they also released the cartoon The Ragtime Bear. Put a pin in that for later. In 1950, UPA released the cartoon Gerald McBoing Boing. Based off of the Dr. Seuss book of the same name, the plot of the cartoon is that a little boy named John McCoy can only speak in sound effects, such as Gerald McBoing Boing was unlike anything audiences had seen before. It was the way that the backgrounds bled into the characters' skin tones. It was the way that shots weren't cut but morphed into each other. And it was the way that the story carried the cartoon and not the jokes. And because of this, Gerald McBoing Boing won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Subject in 1951. It was so popular that UPA produced 3 more cartoons based around Gerald McBoing Boing. Gerald McBoing Boing Symphony, which was released in 1953, How Now Boing Boing, which was released in 1954, and Gerald McBoing Boing on Planet Moo, which was released in 1956 and was nominated for an Academy Award. And that's why the day that Gerald McBoing Boing was released was the day that UPA was born. UPA's design could be summed up in one word: minimalism. Their designs were so simple and flat that anybody could understand them, and it goes to show because they were popular. Between 1947 and 1958, UPA got nominated for 15 Academy Awards, and they won a further 3. In 1956 alone, all nominees in the Best Animated Short Subject category were all UPA cartoons. That has never happened before or since. That just goes to show how influential they were. They were ahead of their competitors by a country mile. They were at their peak. But the only way to go from up is down. And something big was about to affect the company that nobody was prepared for. Communism. The Red Scare of the 1950s affected Hollywood hard, including UPA. 8 UPA employees were ratted out as having communist connections, and if they didn't cut those connections and denounce communism, they would be terminated from their jobs. 7 out of the 8 of them agreed, except for one, John Hubley, who flat out refused. So, because of this, on May 31st, 1952, John Hubley was fired from UPA, and that was the beginning of the end for UPA. Now, there has been a character that I have not mentioned yet, a very important character to the UPA story. I am, of course, talking about Mr. Magoo. Mr. Magoo first appeared in 1949's The Ragtime Bear, and he immediately became UPA's most popular character. But you could say that the more the studio relied on Magoo to stay successful, the worse the company got. The last true good UPA cartoon was 1956's The Jaywalker.
It all started one day when I saw Charlie Hornswoggle on the other side of the street. Suddenly, I realized what I'd done. The blood raced through my veins. I felt tingly all over. I was a bad pedestrian.
UPA tried to enter TV with a Mr. Magoo TV series and a Dick Tracy TV series, but they were both cancelled after one season. In 1962, UPA released Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, which was the very first animated Christmas special, but that couldn't save the company. So, in 1970, they released Uncle Sam Magoo, the last animated production UPA ever worked on. The story of UPA is interesting, from its highest of highs to its lowest of lows. The legacy of UPA still lives on today, and that's good, because the impact that UPA had on animation will never be forgotten. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.